own countdown.
Somebody needs to tell us, don't they?
Yes,
All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So school's out and the grades are submitted and teachers are at almost everywhere are finally taking a breath. But here's the question. How do you make summer actually help us recover instead of just disappearing before we know it? Because many teachers spend the entire school year pouring their lives into other people, and then summer offers this unique opportunity to like refill your own cup. But that doesn't just happen automatically. It requires some intention. And so tonight we want to talk to you about how you can create a purposeful summer that leaves you refreshed instead of wondering where the break went. So, Doc, what can we do? What are some things that we can do? What is the most important thing that we can do to make summer matter more? Or what can we do to make summer the best summer that we've ever had?
Well, one of the biggest things is making a plan for a purposeful summer. Not just, okay, I'm going to go on this trip or maybe I'm going to clean out that closet, but let's be intentional in our actions so that we can make sure that summer serves its purpose of recharging us, refreshing us, and
That's right.
refocusing us.
That's right. So if you check out, there's our topic tonight. And here we are, the breath before you reset. And you finally have time, you finally have a time that you can take to invest in yourself. The question is whether you will just do that or whether you're just going to try to survive it and go right back. Doc, what can we do to take this breath before the reset?
Again, we're going to talk very purposeful. We need to, and we're going to talk a little bit about our to do lists because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we need to challenge that to do list. But we are going to take time to focus on ourselves and focus on different things, very clear cut things that can help us
Yes.
connect to our time
Yep.
and to the just resetting of everything, our nervous system, our mind, our emotions, everything.
So, one of the questions that maybe some of our viewers have is why is it so important to reset right here at this moment?
Well, it's interesting. So, teachers are very blessed that we get summer vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Some people do work, but it's really interesting. For those of us who have been doing this an awful long time, it's kind of hard to imagine not having that summer break. But many times, and I can look back even on my own experience, I can think back and be like, man, that summer, I don't even know what happened. It just flew by. And
It
you
does
hear
fly
that an
by.
awful lot. So we want to take steps to make sure that we are living with intent and really
Yep.
taking time out to help
Yep.
ourselves recoup to get ready.
Yep. So, one of the reasons why summer matters more than what we kind of think is because teaching is mentally and emotionally and spiritually exhausting. It'll absolutely wear you down to the nub. And, I know that you said that just a minute ago, talking about how teachers are on vacation. We should point out that we're not exactly on vacation. We say vacation. What we're on is unpaid time off, is what we're
Mm.
on. All right. But summer matters because teaching demands constant, nonstop mental problem solving and emotional management. And Doc, what are the effects of being in that state of mind for 10 months out of the year?
So we've talked an awful lot about just our nervous system and that fight or flight mode.
Yep.
And when our nervous system is revving way high up and it doesn't have that chance to come down for extended periods of time,
Hmm.
that's when our body gets used to that higher level of just being. And so we need that decompression time in order to come back and reset so that we can function a little bit more on an even keel.
Yep. So, one of the things that we talk about is that rest is a biological necessity to process stress that's accumulated over the year. Why
Mhm.
is it that we're so incapable, or maybe we just avoid it? Are we not able to process that stress properly throughout the year?
We can throughout the year, but I think what happens all too often is it just keeps piling up. So we have the weekend. So there
Mhm.
might be one day where we're just exhausted and we just can't do anything, but then we beat ourselves up and we shoulda all
Right.
over ourselves. So what's different about summer is we get a few weeks and where we
Yes.
can be very intentional with our time and help that reset process.
So one of our contentions here at Teacher Talk is that whenever you get on the brink of burnout, or if you're in the middle of burnout, that uh, burnout cannot be fixed with a weekend, even a long weekend.
Mhm.
We
Or
talk about
massage.
taking mental health days as teachers, and taking those days off to try to kind of clear our head, which is a good idea, by the way. But one day is not enough. So, what does these weeks offer us? That these mental health days, 2 weeks at Christmas, maybe a week at Thanksgiving. What does this offer us that those don't?
Well, if you think about those other times, those are very family filled times.
Mhm.
So, and there's a lot of additional pressures at those times.
There
So,
is.
summer's a little bit different. You might have that family vacay, or maybe there's a reunion, or maybe a
Yep.
bunch of girls' weekend or something. And that's fine. But this is different because your schedule is completely different.
Yep.
Even if you teach summer, because typically summers are shorter days and only certain days of the week and yada, yada, yada. But it's a chance for you to be able to really embrace recovery and letting your body have time and maintenance time in order to get you ready for the next school year.
So I think the hardest thing about those breaks during the year, I mean, they're nice and they're very
Yeah.
helpful. But whenever I leave, right before Thanksgiving, I know I'm coming back in a few days, right? And so,
Right.
and even at the Christmas break, I know I'm coming back in a few days. Like right now, I know that there's almost 9 weeks. Well, I'm down
Mhm.
a week now, but there's almost 9 weeks to where I'm not going to go back to school, which
Mhm.
means that physiologically, there's
Yes.
time for me to kind of let go of some of the things that may be coming in the first of the year. I could put them on the back burner and I don't have to worry about them. Is that kind of what happens there, or is that just me?
No, I think that's extremely accurate. And I think what also comes in is it's it's being able to shift your mind. So if I know I go on Thanksgiving break, and I don't know about the teachers out there, but I know when I come back on that Monday,
Yep.
especially being a counselor, my
Yep.
kids are going to be in ramped up
They
crazy
are.
mode.
Well, and that's exactly what I know too. Is whenever we leave again for Thanksgiving or Christmas, I know that first 2 or 3 days back, that those
Ugh,
kids they didn't forgot how to behave at school. I don't even know how that happened. I mean, don't they have
it's
parents at home? I mean, come on.
it's
But
brutal.
somehow they don't know how to behave by the time they get back. So explain this quote to us right here. Rest is not the reward for hard work. Rest is part of the work. Explain that.
And I love that
Yeah,
because
it's your
I
quote.
think, but it's we need to shift our understanding
Yep.
of what rest is. Often we
Absolutely.
see rest as a reward for whatever. Oh,
Absolutely.
I worked out this morning. I can go to bed at a different time, or I can sit and watch
Yep.
Netflix, or I can do whatever.
Yep.
But what we need to understand is rest is actually part of the process.
Yeah,
It's not
absolutely.
something you earn. It's something that you need to experience as
Yep.
part of that machine.
Yeah. So, absolutely 100%. Here at Teacher Talk, we use a phrase, we say it kind of like rest is not a reward to be earned. Rest is oh, I can't even remember my own quote. Rest is a what? What is rest?
But it's
Rest
part of the
is
work, it's part of the process. I mean, that's
yes,
exactly what it is.
yes, goodness gracious. I can't even remember my own. I'm, go-
He's out of school for a week and he's already turned
I'm
into
gonna,
mush.
I'm gonna hide up underneath of my desk. And I'm going to think of it. And here's what's going to happen is I'm going to be halfway asleep tonight and I'm going to think of it and wake up and I won't be able to go back to sleep. So with
That's
that being
amazing.
said, let's jump over here to the chat right quick. We got a lot of people out there. Hey, good evening, Sarah Ann, 1976. Good to see you. Hope all is well up your way. Sarah, Teacher Kelly, listen, Teacher Talk family, right here next Sunday at 7 p.m. Teacher Kelly will be in the Teacher Talk studio and we're going to hear from her. All right. Also, you can check out her YouTube channel over at Teacher Kelly Tag. Go check it out over there and check out her stuff over there. Who we got right here? I can't see it. Taja. Okay. Good evening. My eyes are not as good as they used to be, and some of those, like the J and the I, are running together. I'm so glad that you are here. Appreciate you jumping in. So, if you're out there, and you are out there, I see everybody out there. Here's what we'd like for you to do: just jump in and let us know. Tell us your grade level and your content area and the state that you're watching from, because we absolutely love to know where it is that we're reaching teachers from. Currently, we're reaching teachers not only in all 50 states, but we're reaching teachers in the Netherlands, in Switzerland, some American teachers that are in Russia, Canada, Australia, and on and on and on. So we absolutely love to know who it is that we're reaching and where we're reaching people at. We appreciate it. All right. Also, before I get too far ahead of myself, one of the things that's very important here is that the way that you can support Teacher Talk, there's two things that you can do tonight to support Teacher Talk. Number one is join our channel membership. You can get it right there on your mobile. It says join. You can join right there. It's $3.99 a month. That goes a long ways towards helping us keep content on the air and keep us going, because it is costing a fortune to keep this thing running. Number one. Number two, this is the biggest thing, and I'm going to drop it all in the chat here in just a minute. Your call to action tonight is to share this live with somebody you know. Share it. All you got to do is right there on your YouTube is click the little, I think the little hamburger over there, and it'll give you the ability to share it. That's what you got to do. That'll support us tonight, and that'll also help teachers everywhere. If you want to talk to Doc, you can right there. You can grab a 15-minute call with her at the QR, or it is in the description down below. You can check it out down there. Doc, what's going to happen in that 15 minutes?
Well, we're going to chat a little bit about what's going on and some of the things that you would like to see change or areas that you would like to grow in yourself.
So, is there like a common theme amongst teachers that you talk to, of things they want to change, or things that's going on in life? Is there a common theme?
Yes, actually, I think it's our perception of situations. And often it's understanding what's in their control versus what isn't.
That's right. So, what are some things? And whenever you talk to somebody, what do you tell them is in their control?
Well, that's what we work on together. So often we can come to a situation and we like to fuss and complain and this is what's going on
Yep.
and feel the feels, right?
Right.
But then it's like, okay, let's switch. So I understand how you feel and we're going to validate that, but then let's focus on what is yours and what isn't. And all too often, especially teachers, they just absorb a lot of things that aren't theirs to fix.
Yeah.
And
100%.
that's what causes that burnout and it just knocks people down.
Hey, what right here? I'm curious. Where at in Tennessee do you teach
Oh,
math? Where are you teaching at in Tennessee? And I only ask that because my wife and I are originally from that area up there. Also, don't miss it right here, Sarah Ann, grades 3 through 5, up in New York, and hopefully it's warmed up there. I doubt that it has. So, hey, Doc, what is the process of coaching? Is that like where somebody comes to you and they say, "Hey, I'm really struggling here," and you say, "You better change this and you better do that"? I mean, how does that work?
well, think of it just like this. If you wanted to learn how to play tennis, you could go out
Yeah.
and grab your shoes, get your cute outfit, grab that
Yep.
racket, but you're going to need a coach to work on understanding how to play the
Yep.
game
Yep.
and hit the ball and serve and volley and backhand and go over all of the things. So coaching is a lot like that. It's very different from
That's
counseling.
right.
It's not counseling whatsoever
Yep.
because we're not diagnosing, we're not
That's right.
coming up with treatment plans. Instead, what coaching does is it says, okay, what's the area that you're struggling with? So just like our little tennis example, like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, what's the area? What do you want to learn? You want to learn how to play tennis? I got you.
Got
Okay,
it.
you want to learn how to go to work and still be smiling at the end of the day? I got you. Let's figure out how we can come up with strategies that or are going to help you get through your day, get through your week. Sometimes it's even exploring other options outside of teaching, outside of whatever job they might currently be doing. It's just having somebody to bounce ideas off of and then also putting strategies in place to see what works and what helps.
So, would you say that a coach then is somebody that's already been where other people are currently?
Typically,
Kind of,
yes.
kind of like a
Yes.
tennis coach. I mean, most tennis coaches probably played tennis, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, it's somebody that's already been where you are and figured out how to get out of the hole, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So if you want some free stuff, you can get it right down there at the QR code, or right there at the QR code, or you can go to the description box down there where it says free stuff, and you can go get all the free stuff that you want. All right. Also, if you'd like a 30-minute call with me, you can grab it right there at the QR, or you can jump down in the description box and you can get it right there. All right. So remember, the biggest thing is that whenever we get done here tonight, is that we're going to share this thing out. We're going to share it. And it's very important because not only does that help us, but that also helps some of your teacher friends. Okay. All right. Check it out. Oh, I got the wrong one. In Memphis. Now, listen, Memphis barbecue. I, I will go no further. I'm a barbecue junkie. I love to smoke food. Tell me, what is the best barbecue place? If I go to Memphis, what is the barbecue place that I have to attend to say that I've had the best barbecue in Memphis? Where's it at? Somebody tell me. All right. All right. Now, Doc, here's the thing. I see some videos coming up, and everybody's getting out of school, and I see some TikToks and things of that nature, and some YouTube shorts. And the video kind of goes like this: a day in the life of a teacher on summer break, and they have the phone set up, and they're all snuggled up in the bed, and it looks like it's like 2 o'clock outside. And then it cuts to another scene. They're sitting on the couch with a pillow with their feet up, and then there's another one. They're sitting in a recliner and they're scrolling through the phone, right? And so, is that what we mean by recovery, or is there maybe a difference between resting and recovery?
Right. So that's very passive, which is fine. We might need that time every now and then. But if that's the day to day during summer, that's not going to bring you the rest that you need, and that which is going to lead to recovery. So that's where we have to make sure that we're looking more at an active recovery. Now, that's not to say to work yourself to death. It's just, and you guys know that for those of you who've been on here before, how I feel about screen time and what it does to kids,
Right.
let alone our own brains. So that scrolling and binge watching and excessive sleep gets me a little nervous. Not to diagnose, but sometimes you could be knocking on the door of like depression. So
Hmm.
which is, I'm not saying you can't have those days. We used to call them PJ days. And every now and then I need a PJ day.
Yep.
I don't feel like going anywhere. I don't feel like driving my car. I feel like staying in,
Yeah.
getting the laundry done or whatever, but just chilling. And that's fine as
So,
long as it's not every day.
so is there like a balance on that, or because I got to be honest with you, I don't have a lot of PJ days. I don't have a lot of those. I don't have a lot of Netflix days. Um, because the truth of the matter is that I like to be moving. Okay, I
Mm.
like to. So, for instance, today I was out in my garage all day today. I built a base for some furniture, and then I started. I got this brand new paint sprayer, and I can't wait to spray paint. This, that, and the other. And I'm like tired. my legs hurt, I'm tired, but I feel good,
There you
right?
go. Right.
I don't know to it that I feel good if I sit around for 3 or 4 days. So
Right.
what happens then to the person that just sits around, doom scrolls, binge Netflix binge, instead of being active in the summer? What actually happens to them in their body, maybe?
Well, and that's when we're not putting any kind of demands on our body for a long period of time. That's when those mood shifts can happen.
Mhm.
There can be feelings of depression, not necessarily diagnosing it, but there can be those feelings. And a lot of the time when the doom scrolling starts, that's when a lot of that negative thinking just takes over. And we're not, and that's again, nowhere near where we want to be because we're not recovering. We're actually digging the hole a little bit deeper. So it's very important that we are intent on what we're doing and we're creating a space that, yes, we can have these PJ days every now and then,
Hmm.
but we need to make sure, and I know we're going to go over in a minute, we have some
Yep.
great suggestions for you guys to make
Yep.
sure that
100%.
you are using the summer for that recovery and bettering yourself in the long run so that when the school year comes, you're refreshed and ready to go.
So, one of the things, I think about, if I did, it's not that I've never sit around and binge watched or anything like that, because obviously I have, but I recognize that when I sit around and I binge watch, all I do is numb my mind in order to
Right.
pass the time. And in doing that, because I'm not active, then I tend to think about things that I don't necessarily need to think about at the time. Right. And so
Right.
the whole idea here, it's not, I mean, it is to get our body moving because we do need to be active, but it is also when you're active, your mind seems to be present where you're actually active instead of sitting around. Because the last thing that we need to think about is school, right? We don't need to think about school during the summer, do we? Or do we?
Well, I don't know if we need to think about school, but what we do need to think about is things that are giving us energy versus things that are not. And often what happens is we think, okay, if I rest, meaning I'm going to binge watch a season of Vampire Diaries, that okay, I'm going to feel refreshed afterwards. And actually the opposite happens. We feel drained, we're sluggish, etc. So what we're saying is we want more of an active recovery time where it's purposeful, where again we can have our PJ days, but at least I still got my laundry done, or at least I went outside and spent some time outside. Maybe I meal prep that day, whatever. But we want to make sure that we're contributing to ourselves, not just, oh, what can I just watch right now or on our phones for that quick dopamine hit. We want to make it purposeful.
So one of the things that we teach here at Teacher Talk is that you gotta have things in your life that you do that bring you joy. Okay, things that
Hmm.
you genuinely love to do, places that you love to go, things that absolutely refresh you. And that's one of our ideas right here is the goal is to honestly identify which activities genuinely fill you up and not just killing time.
Right.
So and I think we're going to go through a process here just a little bit looking at some activities that can fill us up, but doing nothing is not the same as recovering. Your soul needs more than a Netflix queue. Explain that quote right there.
Well, again, it's so often we think rest means doing nothing. And what we're actually saying is rest needs to look a little bit more structured sometimes so that we can feel the benefits from it. Um, you know, a, that active recovery and that rest can look more like a leisurely walk outside. It can look just time in nature in general. I have this amazing owl that last night and this morning has decided to just keep talking, and I just go out and I stare at it and it stares at me. And and that might seem very, some people might be like, okay, it's an owl, but it was 10 minutes in nature just relaxing and just watching. So I wasn't on anything, but it refreshes me and it energizes me, just like you were just saying. What are some of those things? So it's making those meaningful connections that allows our body to relax, get more in a state of relaxation rather than
Mhm.
that fight or flight. And it allows us to connect and grow. And those activities bring us to a lengthier time spent in that more relaxed mode.
So I think one of the interesting things that you said right there is because sometimes when we think of rest, we think
Hmm.
of not doing anything. I don't have a
Right.
plan, but we're talking about rest that's like structured rest. We have an intention behind what we're going to accomplish, and there's a difference. That's why we're articulating between passive and active rest. And so
Hmm.
here's a thought, right? Here's kind of what we're talking about. All right, this passive rest, all it does is numb the mind, right? You sit around this, that, or the other. It says right here, excessive sleeping to escape, but passive rest really is escapism, isn't it?
Hmm. Yes.
Yeah. So, and it just depends upon who the person is, because it could be that we're trying to escape our feelings. It could be that we're trying to escape the hurt that we've experienced, whether it's at school or this, that, or the other. But passive rest seems to me like if you're using it as a means of escapism, that you will only develop a habit that's much worse than what you have now. I mean, it's kind of like the
Hmm.
people, a lot of people, they get upset, they're stressed. What do? They grab for chocolate, or they eat themselves, or they drink, right, to
Yeah.
excess. They only end up creating a habit that's even worse. And what we want to do is have active rest, because it rebuilds the soul. And I wonder, there are some examples up there, and we're going to go to the chat here in just a minute. But while we're going to the chat, I want I want our community out there, and we've got a lot out there tonight. I want you to drop in what is an active recovery activity that you're going to enjoy this summer while we're off. Can you do that out there in the chat? Just drop that in there. All right, check this out. Teacher Kelly, she pointed out the same thing that you do. She said she can. She says, "Hey, I can be in my PJs and still get things done around the house." Absolutely, you can. Absolutely, you can. When we say PJ Day, I guess what we mean is laying around in bed and on the couch all day. All right, there's John from Indiana. Good to see him. He's in here tonight. He's a good friend of mine. He has been with me since like the first time that I ever went live a couple years ago on TikTok. Appreciate you, John. All right, let's see. Teach Kelly, I usually get in really good shape. I finally have the time. It usually spills over into when school starts, but slowly tapers off as the school year goes. All right. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Doc, how do we carry active rest, such as being healthy, working out? How do we carry that into the hectic nature of the school year?
Well, it's all about priorities. And I think often we get and scheduling because we get back to school and it's like the adage says, keep doing what you've done, you're gonna keep getting what you got. So often we fall back into that schedule. I know it's super hard, especially when we have children because they have activities and you're trying to squeeze things in. So it is great that in the summer, a lot of us have so much more time, so we can make the
Mm-hmm.
gym a priority or jogging or whatever. So that's great, and it's just a matter of figuring out how it also could work when you get back to school. But we all know how fun that back to school time is, right in the beginning. So yeah, so it can be done. It's just it's some hard work to get her there.
All right. Sarah Ann says that she went for a walk or for a hike
Hi.
today.
Hmm. Nice.
Excellent, excellent. She's going to go to the beach and relax. Let's see, gardening. That is my favorite pastime hobby. I absolutely love to garden. One of the things that I was going to do this year, and I didn't get to it because I started working on another project in my backyard, is I wanted to see how big of a tomatoes I could grow. Just for for fun, because it's a cool thing to do. And then you get to eat them. So there's the good news about that. Let's see. Teacher Kelly, she's going to travel, exercise, visiting family. All right. I can tell you what I'm going to do. All right. Doc got to go down to Orlando this week. It's the land of milk and honey here in Florida. Absolutely. Okay. I'm going down to the land of milk and honey, like the week after next, whatever it is, next week. And so we're going to spend some time down there. We're going to relax on the lazy river and soak up some sun and play golf and meet people and all those other things. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to work in my garage. I'm going to work around my house. All of those things. I know it sounds like, well, he's not resting at all. All of those things I like to do. I love to do those things, Doc. So it's not really a single activity, right? It could be anything, huh?
It can be anything. And again, like we've talked many times about, we don't want it to be a single activity. We want to look at, yes, we can have those big opportunities, but we also want to look at the daily opportunities. What are you doing every day to contribute to this sense of rest and recovery? How are you taking your time and utilizing it to help you grow and to help you regulate your nervous system?
So
Um, Go ahead.
yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Nope,
So I
you're
want to
good.
drop a few links down here in the chat. This first one is to, and I recommend this book all the time. It's such an easy read. Okay, it's exactly what we're talking about right here. It is Dr. Sandra Dalton Smith's, yeah, Sandra Dalton Smith's book, Sacred Rest. I just dropped the link to it in the chat. Listen, you can read this book in just no time. So I want to encourage you to go grab that and put it in there. All right, to Teacher Kelly and to others who are wondering, how is it that I carry this into, how do I get this stuff into my hectic schedule? All right, Dan Martell right here has a great book. I'm in the middle of it right now. One of the best reads I've had in 2026. Buy back your time. Go check it out. One of the things that he has in here is he has this wonderful matrix. Well, I shouldn't say it's a matrix. It's more like so right here. And he works you through this process of trying to figure out the things that are productive, things that you can invest in, things that perhaps you can delegate to others, things that you need to replace. All right. All that different kind of stuff, and just works you through that. That's how we can get ourselves on track a little bit during the school year. What do you think, Doc?
I agree. And it's a matter of what's your focus. So if your focus is just getting through that first week of school, that's understood because we know how
Yeah.
fun that first week is. But then what's your focus afterwards? What can
That's
you
right.
do to make sure that you're taking care of yourself? Because it piles up. And we've talked about little things, and it's those little teeny tiny things that pile up, and soon we have this gigantic mountain that is just made out of these little things that we know we could take care of eventually, but if we can address it, we can create a healthier place for us and
Sure.
for our bodies.
100%. So once again, if you want to book a call there with Doc, you can get it right there at the QR on the screen or down in the description box. It's all right there. Go grab it. All of our free stuff that we offer is right here at this QR or down in the description box. It says free stuff. All right, so go grab that. If you'd like a 30-minute call with me, you can get it right there. Same way, easy stuff. You can get it. Also, I'm going to drop a couple of those in the chat over there, so that people that maybe you can't get the description box or you can't see the QR or whatever, and you can get it that way. So, Doc, here's the thing: if we're not careful, this right here is exactly what's going to happen. Is we are going to let summer slip by.
Yes.
Don't let summer slip by. I see this. I see our first statement. Stop drifting and reacting to whatever each individual day happens to bring. And I think about, it wasn't originally his song, but Uncle Cracker. I don't know if anybody knows who Uncle Cracker is,
Yes.
but he sings that song. Give me the beat, boys. I lost my soul. Give me the beat, boys. However it goes.
Free my soul.
And oh yeah, free my soul. I want to get lost in your rock and roll and just drift away.
Yep.
Right. And too often that's what happens with summer, is that we just
Yes.
drift away.
Absolutely.
And while it may be true that physically our body feels better and that we're not so tired, we've slept in, we've changed our rhythm and all those other things. It's not true that actual recovery has taken place in our nervous system, is it?
Right. So that's the name of the game today is we're looking at allowing your nervous system to come back to a more relaxed state, but a healthier state. So we've
Mm-hmm.
talked about thermostats before,
That's
and
right.
often we're running really high. We need our thermostat to regulate us a little bit better so that we can be healthier. When we come into August, we're able to take things a little bit differently. We're not going to react so much. We're going to respond. So it's not as emotional. And it's not to say that we are going to allow a bunch of things to happen. What it's saying is we are going to be in control of what we do with those things.
That's right.
So that's also what we can start with in the summer. So what can I control in the summer? What are my priorities? What do I need in order to be my best self for August, to prep myself and get ready for whatever might come my way?
I gotta be honest with you. I don't know how everybody else feels, but my number one priority in the summer is to not even think about school. And that is a very difficult priority. I get that. And I'm not doing very good at it because, right the day before school was out, we hired a baseball coach from Texas. And so Friday night I had to go down for a parent meeting. That's something that I would never do. I just couldn't believe that I was on the campus of our school and I wasn't on a contract. I mean, I was like, really, but the kids are, and it's not. There are times where we got to do a little something different because, the kids deserve that. A new hire deserves to be treated correctly. So I wanted to do that. And so I enjoyed that time. But for the most part, I don't want to think about school. Now, Doc, I give that same advice and same challenge to those that come into coaching with me. Do you think that's unrealistic?
I don't think it's unrealistic, but I think it's important to use. So that's something that I would make sure is a priority for you. For other people, they like to prep all summer so that when August comes, they don't feel like they're behind the eight ball. Um, so
Yeah,
I think it just depends on what's important to you.
yeah.
And again, when we're being purposeful with our summer, I think one of the first things we should do is figure out what are my
Hmm.
priorities. So like it says like if we looked at your calendar right now, would it reflect your priorities? So one of the things that I'm doing is I'm working on a lot more content. So I have a physical schedule that I
Yeah.
am working on to hold myself accountable. Like, okay, I'm up by this time and I am in front of my computer by this time. And there's other days though that I might not get to that because I have appointments or I have
Hmm.
clients or whatever. But again, what are we making our priorities instead of just saying, well, I have 10 weeks and ugh, it breezes by.
So I just want to push back just a little bit because
Mhm.
I watched a short the other day. It was the a day in the life of a teacher on summer break. And it was the exact opposite of what I described earlier. In
Right.
this video, this teacher got up and she was, seeing her dog and went and got a protein shake or whatever. And then she walked out to get in her car and says these words: I'm going to work, because she has to work a summer job.
Mm.
And so she got to her work, and it turned out it's not hard work. I think she's working at a local pool. She's a lifeguard and doing all this stuff. And then she turned the camera, and right there she was, one day out of school, working on her Google Classroom. Right there,
Mhm.
one day out of school, working on her Google Classroom, trying to prepare for the next year. And I understand the thought process of that. Okay, and for sure, that will help you get ahead a little bit, as at least as it relates to planning. The
Mhm.
problem is that it doesn't matter how many weeks or even if you have an entire semester planned ahead of time, that will not go the way that you think it's going to go, because you're going to run into days where things happen. You're going to have problems in your classroom. You're going to get off track, all this. And I get that still helps. But the point that I like to make right here is that if you are not making a great effort over the summer for your mind, your body, and your nervous system, your emotions, your spiritual faculties to adequately recover, it won't make any difference how many lesson plans you have. You will still be miserable because teaching is that hard. Now, I know I'm pushing back a little bit, so tell me, where am I off track, or am I over exaggerating, or what am I doing?
I don't think you're off track or over exaggerating. I just think it's important to consider for each person. So, where some people might be like, I don't even want to hear the name of my school over the summer. Others might say, I'm watching this podcast or listening to this podcast because it's going to help me
Right.
teach reading next year. Or, wow, I saw this amazing training. I just took it online and I've got better strategies for math. So some people, and that's fine. That's fantastic. Again, I think there's not a one size fits all. This is not cookie cutter. It's very individualized. It's understanding what makes sense for you, which that's the first. We talk about awareness all the time. It's being aware of what it is that you need. So if you feel that you need those things done, by all means do them. But also, and we're going to talk about it in a minute, we're going to talk about to-do lists
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and and
That's
and
right.
and figuring out, do we
Mm-hmm.
need a to-do list, because sometimes we need more than that.
That's
Because
right.
teachers are great box checkers. They are
Yeah.
fantastic at, ooh, give me a task and I will check that box like there's no tomorrow. Tell
Right.
me when it's due and I'll have it there 5 days
Hundred
before.
percent. 100%.
So we just, again, it's just a matter of what works best for you. And some people had a great school year, so that's fantastic. They want to build on it. Wonderful.
That's
But
right.
again, what are you is there anything is anything going on with your body that you need to address? Anything going on with your relationships, your emotions, your thinking that needs to be addressed, because this is a fantastic time to get that done.
I agree. This is the time. The next, and I don't know where a lot of the folks that tune in here, they don't get out till the middle of June. So I would be like in nutso mode if they told me I had to go to the middle of June,
But they
right?
don't go back until after Labor Day.
I get it. There's just something about going to the middle of June though that would bother me
I
a
know,
lot.
I know.
So anyway, wherever you're at, there's an 8 week or 9 week period, however long you get, that's extraordinarily important. And you're seeing two different sides right here. Doc says, hey, it's okay, if planning and getting ahead, if that's what you want to do, that's all right. And I'm saying it's okay. If it's not, then don't. Right? It's not for me. I can tell you that. And part of the reason why is because of my own personal experience, and just investing too much in a place that doesn't give anything back. Education is going to leave us all, if we stay long enough, with a retirement. All right, but it's also going
Mhm.
to leave us with many scars. It's going to leave us with many missed opportunities with our family. It's going to leave us with many heartbreaks down through the years. And I guess at this point in life, I'm 53 years old. I want to retire in the next 3 years. I'm looking forward to something else. And so,
Mhm.
I guess a person's stage of life then plays into how they're going to react right here. Would you agree?
Yes. And I think not only their stage of life, but how's their health? How's their mental health? How are
That's
their
right.
relationships? So it's looking at the whole picture instead of just being focused on, one thing.
That's right. All right. One size doesn't fit all. But hey, I just dropped something in the chat. This is free. It's 100% free. It's always free. It's a teacher burnout checklist, and it's specifically for summer. All right. And to see where you're at, go download that. It's yours. You can have it. It doesn't cost a penny to get that. There's been people in here downloading stuff all night, and we appreciate that. But let's get to the chat. All right.
Yes.
Let's get to the chat. That's where it's at. All right. We got Jennifer right here. Or Jenny. I like to explore topics that will increase my efficiency during the school year because I don't have time in the school year.
Right.
Got it. Good stuff. So that's going to be your task over the summer. All right, no problems. All right, Teacher Kelly, she likes to read books about the profession. All right, I like to read books, but nothing about. Okay, so I just almost told a big tale because I just ordered a book last night that's about education. All right, but well, it's a book about how the education system has failed teachers and students. So
Mm.
you may want to say that that's teacher talk research. All right, let's see right here. Jennifer comes with me in, but only as I have time for it. I have 4 kids, and my summer job is being a mom. I find I'm a happier mom when I'm not teaching. I guarantee it. There's no doubt that that can be true, right? I find that I'm a happier John when I'm not teaching too. I mean, my kids are all grown up. Doc, were you a happier mom in the summertime, Doc? Uh oh, I
No,
think.
because I usually worked.
You worked all
Yeah.
year.
I
Gotcha.
know. Did
All
it
right.
freeze?
Yeah, it did. It's okay.
Yeah, I
Pittsburgh
used to
Pirates.
work all year.
Pittsburgh
Oh,
Pirates
there he is.
14. He says one size does not fit all. You're definitely right.
Yes.
We're all individuals, and just because I think something doesn't mean anything. So there's that. All right, who we got right here? I do pretty much nothing for school over the summer. I take care of me and my family. That's what I'm talking about. 8680. What is that? Is that one home 8680? All right, I can't see. All right, that's a big long story. All right, it happened to me 4 years ago. Sarah Ann, I am in crazy mode. I understand. Like, I really do understand. Hey, what do we got right here? I think that is a super chat. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Mm.
Thank you for the support. Let's see here. Sarah Ann, currently reading a book on complex PTSD. Goodness gracious. That sounds like that sounds like academic work right there.
Mm.
That might make my that might make my eyes hurt. So so Doc, one of the fears right here, and I think that I want to be careful is we're talking about all this stuff, and some people might get the idea that they need a to-do list, but that's not what we're after, is
Right.
it? We're after a vision. Can you
Not at all.
explain? Can you explain that?
Right.
What is a summer vision?
So when we look at a summer vision versus a to-do list, and like I mentioned earlier, often teachers and our kind of type A-ish people, we love those to-do lists, right? Give me a to-do list, I will crank that bad boy out. But it's almost like a drive-by. It's like, let me just check and move on. Where if we have a vision, it's more in depth and it's meaningful. So we want to look at ways that we can grow. What are our
Right.
priorities? What are we focused on? What are we
Yes.
reconnecting with? It can
Yes.
be things in the past or it can be new things. So it's taking on a different mentality when it comes to our summer. It's not
Hmm.
something just to be one and done. It's something to experience because when we experience it, then we have that sense of accomplishment and can get refreshed and then we can move forward.
So one of the things is that, and I know everybody knows this, is that Teacher Talk is a faith-based organization, and it's very interesting because the Scripture says, "Where there is no vision, the
Mm,
people perish." Where there is no vision, the people perish. And the whole idea behind that is when you are not forward looking and forward thinking, that eventually you just wither out and you go on. I mean, that is why in leadership there's so much talk about you got to have a mission, you got to have a vision. Well,
Mm,
why is that? Because people need something to work towards,
right.
right? They need something to try to work towards so that it can be created.
Hmm.
And without that, the people just perish. That's why people leave organizations that are without vision, without mission. And so we're talking about creating an overall what is it? What is it that I want this summer to look like? What would be, well, I don't want to get ahead because I know we're going to go through it. I think we got a little process coming up for that, Doc.
Hmm.
So I tell you, I have a vision for mine, and mine is to get one step closer to retirement by continuing to build the Teacher Talk brand and to sell my furniture out in my garage. That's my vision for the summer,
There you go.
on top
But
of not thinking about school. How
right.
about that? Is that a
Well,
good
and
one?
that's just, yes, it's a great one. So just understand too that a to-do list tends to come with some pressure attached to it,
That's
where a
right.
vision does not. A to-do list tends to have like due dates and this is what needs to get done. And we're not saying to-do lists are like absolutely horrible, but if you just shift a little bit into more of a vision, it takes the pressure off and it
Yes.
allows you to again with intent experience the summer. We there's and I am just throwing this in there if you didn't even know anything about it. But
Oh boy.
what we're seeing too is a lot of people, there's so much research. If you watch concerts, and some of us are old enough that we remember concerts without phones, but with everybody recording everything, recording, your brain, when it takes from the phone rather than experiencing it itself, it registers things differently. So it's super important to actually connect and experience the things. We talked a lot about getting outside. So whether it's nature, it can be a meaningful connection with a friend. I got to see one of my best friends the other day, and that energized me. It can be reflecting on things. It might be journaling. It could be reading to help you and get you in a different headspace. It could be creative activities. I know one of my, I'm mentoring somebody and she picked up knitting because that she felt
Excellent.
like she needed some kind of a hobby and also our spiritual growth. So again, it's taking the pressure off because a lot of times we put the pressure on ourselves if we're being extremely honest. So
That's
if we
right.
take that to-do list and set it over here and instead say, "Hey, you know what? I have a vision for myself this summer
Yep.
and this is what it is."
100%. You know, another thing about a vision that a checklist won't do is a vision gives meaning
Yeah.
to what you're doing. A
Mhm.
checklist is just a set of steps that you happen to knock out.
Mhm.
And I like that idea. And it goes back again to what we were talking about, where there is no vision, the people perish. Well, of course they perish because they don't have anything. They don't have anything important. They don't have anything. They don't have. There's no meaning behind what they're doing. Right. I feel like again, visions are individual, of course.
Mhm.
So I feel like there's purpose behind what I'm doing because, I get to help teachers. I get to meet a lot of people. The biggest thing is that in 3 years, I'll be able to retire. There's meaning. My summer has meaning because it gets me one
Yes,
step closer to where I want to be.
absolutely.
Now, that's a that's probably not what what we're thinking about as it relates to the summer because most people out there are not thinking about how can I use my summer so that I can retire in a couple of years. So what is maybe a good vision just for and I know, again I know that they're individual, but what is a good vision, you think?
I think one of the best ones is just prioritizing your health. So
Good.
taking in an inventory of how are you feeling,
Excellent.
not only physically, but emotionally,
Yeah.
spiritually. So looking at those aspects, I mean, when's the last time you had a physical? That's one of the first things I always ask my clients. Like, when's the last time you had a physical and you had your
Yeah.
blood work done and all
Yep.
those fun things? So and then looking, so once your physical health is good, look at your emotional and your mental health. Are you
Yes.
snapping at your kids a lot more, or have you been struggling with your partner? So maybe there's some issues there that need to be
Yeah.
addressed. And then definitely, and it's not that it's last, but looking at your spiritual health, is
Yeah.
there more of a connection that you need to make and be more purposeful in how you spend your time?
Yeah. So I got all my books right here in my office. I've been working through this one in the morning. This is a little exposition on the Proverbs, right
Hmm.
there. I love the Proverbs, and I just been working through those, trying to establish some wisdom, much needed wisdom. Doc, if somebody came to one of your coaching sessions, would they hear that kind of stuff right there?
It's exactly what you're going to
So,
hear. Plus, we're going to
so,
hear more about you.
so if they clicked on the link or the QR
Hmm.
code, and they had 15 minutes worth of Doc, that's what they would hear.
Yes. And it
Yeah.
usually goes to 30. But yes, and
Yeah.
again, it's looking at everybody as an individual and figuring out what means a lot to you
Sure.
and the areas that you want to grow in.
Sure. Also, 30 minutes right here. You probably would not hear me talking about a physical, but what we would be talking about is how to reclaim your limits and take instead of being stuck by the sword, instead of the sword sticking you, how to get a hold of the handle so that the sword is pointed
There
the
you
other way,
go.
if that makes any sense whatsoever. All
Yep.
right, that's what you get. Okay, so all kinds of free stuff. The downloads have been massive tonight. I'm amazed at how many people have gone to get the checklist and other free stuff, and we want you to do that. Also, want to just and I hope it doesn't come across wrong, but you know, we got to be able to survive to be able to get this thing to keep it off the ground. We're doing pretty well, but if you've received any encouragement from Teacher Talk tonight or any night or down through the day, down through the last year, through videos or lives or whatever it is, we would just invite you to support us with a channel membership. They're $3.99. I mean, it's I think like 250 comes our way, so it's not a lot. All right, is the point, and we need 10. We need 10. All right, we're almost there, and whenever we get there, then we can change up and do a few other things. I'm going to come back to another thing here in just a minute, but I wanted to catch my buddy John up here. John is not a teacher, so he says he plans to take a week off this summer. I, I about died when I saw that. Sarah Ann's going to read her book on the beach right there. Absolutely. And I hope it's a good book too, by the way. I hope you enjoy reading about that. Teacher Kelly, thank you. Nice. Retirement goals are nice. They are. I wanted to retire whenever I was 50, whenever I was a kid. Obviously not going to make it, so I'm going to do the next best thing and get as close as I can. Pittsburgh Pirates, my suggestion: take the summer to get in tune with God and the Holy Spirit. Your life will be more enjoyable. I 100% agree. There's no disagreement from me at all. You know, because the school year is rough, right? And it does affect us spiritually. It does affect us mentally. It does affect us emotionally. And so, absolutely, absolutely. Thanks for dropping that in there. All right, being guided by the Spirit is amazing. I love my life because of it. Absolutely, appreciate it, man. Sarah Ann, Sarah Ann downloaded her stuff yesterday. Whatever it is, I hope it. I didn't. I don't necessarily get to always see who downloaded it, but I see stuff come through, and I appreciate it. All right. So John says John has upgraded, and he's thinking about taking 2 weeks. 2 weeks. All right. Uh, I I don't know if I would trade or not. I don't know if I'll be trading John or not. John's got a tough job. All right, Sarah Ann is going to be working forever because life is so expensive. It 100% is. But I want to point out something, a little bit about what we're talking about. You got to have a plan. Nobody arrives where they want to go without a plan. All right, so I encourage you, sit down, and you'd be surprised what you can do in 2 or 3 years with a plan. You really can. So, Doc, here's the thing: a to-do list tells you what to finish. A vision tells you who you want to become.
Hmm.
And isn't that what we're after?
Right? So a
Who,
to-do list also is what you're going to finish,
that's right.
but that vision is what you're going to focus on. So
That's right.
figure out what it is you want to focus on. I always tease, I work with kids during the school year counseling, and a lot of the times I'll say to them, WTF, and I'm like, not what you think it is.
That's right.
I'm telling you what's the focus. So
What's the
all too
focus?
often they get so focused on somebody they can't change, what somebody said about them, how a
That's right.
teacher treated them. So then I have to shift it and say, okay, kiddo, let's shift that focus. Like, what are we really going to focus on? I've worked
Right.
with clients and the same kind of thing because all too often, so here's a great point. So we complain about our 8 to 10 week summer,
That's right.
but there's a majority that don't get that.
That's right.
So, in all honesty, we should be extremely thankful for our summer and therefore make it a very intentional summer
Absolutely.
that we take care of ourselves and we make changes, or we can focus it on growth. How are you growing?
That's
If you
right.
stop staying stagnant and blaming everybody else,
Yep.
where do you want to grow and how do you want to grow?
That's right. Hey,
And
check
that's
this
the
out.
vision versus the to do. Sorry.
So, check this out right here. Wilbur says, I'm going to focus on health physically, mentally, and spiritually.
There you go.
Wilbur, hang out because this next slide,
Yes.
this is where it's at. Let's talk about building the vision right here. All right, let's see what we can come up with. 3 steps. Doc, walk us through them.
So, exactly. So, you need to look at what you want to prioritize. So, a lot of the time, something great is like, I want to prioritize peace over productivity.
Yeah,
It's just being able to stay calm in whatever situation. And it's
yeah,
really funny because this is something I've been working on for a few years now, and
yeah,
I've made strides myself. But I had a little hiccup in Orlando because we know how fabulous
yeah,
Orlando traffic can be.
yeah.
And I had a very quick slip. But what's amazing and how I can tell that I've grown is I recognized it immediately and
Yeah,
kind of had to process it, and think about why I got so angry at a
yeah.
wonderful woman who didn't stop for an ambulance. But again, I had to choose my peace. So let's look at what we're going to prioritize, and a lot of us need that peace, which is fantastic. And then
Yeah.
how are you going to reconnect? What are you? Because let's be honest, in
Hey,
the
wait a
school
minute.
year,
You're going too fast.
I know. Sorry.
You're going too fast. I
Okay.
wanted to I wanted to bring this up right here. Check this out
Yes.
if I can find it. All right.
Okay.
So in this example,
Right.
Wilbur, he's going to prioritize his
Oh.
health, his physical fitness, his mental fitness, and his spiritual fitness. So that
Hmm.
fits into that category right there, correct?
Right.
So
Hmm.
those are good things. That's a good starting place,
Right.
right? He knows what it is that he wants to do.
Yes.
And so that's my question to you out there in YouTube verse America or wherever it is that you are. Do you know what your priorities are? If you do, drop 2 or 3 of them down in the chat. Let us know. Share with us, and see where you're at, and we can build this thing in live time as we work. Now, I got to give it back to Doc. I already cut her off, and I didn't mean to, but she was
That's
she was
okay.
she was on
I
a roll. If you were
I
in a
was on a
coaching, if
roll.
you're in a coaching thing, she would be on a roll right there. All right, number 2.
So, what do you want to reconnect with? Because we get so disconnected. So, dysregulation is kind of like that prioritize what are you going to do with peace, right? We get dysregulated. What then we need to look at is what are we disconnected from during the school year that we want to reconnect with? One of the biggest things a lot of the times when I talk to people is reading. I don't get a chance to read during the school year because I'm busy doing
Right.
this. Right. So, where do you want to reconnect? Maybe it's reconnecting with your church. Maybe it's
Yep.
reconnecting with the gym. Wherever your reconnection is, it doesn't even need to be that physical thing. Maybe it's even getting in touch with friends that you didn't talk to during the school year. So, like, that's what I did again on this past trip. I got to see one of my best friends, and we just all week
Right.
we ran errands. that, so it doesn't need to cost you a lot of money, guys.
That's
We
right.
ran errands and just hung out. So where do you need to reconnect? So something you want to prioritize.
Hmm.
Also look at your connections and it's something you might want to reconnect. And
Hmm.
then what do you want to reclaim? And again, that's that physical health. And I know we talked about that earlier because you have the time that you can devote to meal prep, to exercise, whatever
Right.
it might be. So just taking those as examples, but come up with your own vision statement. Like, what do I want for this summer? And declare it. Write it down. Put it on your fridge. I
That's right.
used to use uh, dry erase markers on my mirror for my kids.
Right.
Write it on there. It comes right off, trust me. But definitely want to keep that at the forefront of your mind.
Yeah. So here's an interesting thing you're talking about writing that down is that right here in the scripture, whenever God in Habakkuk in chapter 2, verse number 2, it
Mhm.
says, "And the Lord answered me, write the vision, make it plain on tablets,
Yep.
so he may run who reads it." Write
There
the
you go.
vision down,
Hmm.
make it plain, which means that you may have to iterate it over and over and over to get it to where it's right, so that whoever reads it can run. Run where? Towards the vision
Hmm.
and not the checklist.
Right.
That's exactly where we want to go. So check this out. All right, Pittsburgh Pirates. He's in there, man. Everything fall in line whenever he's doing is taking care of himself spiritually. One home, 88-60, I think 86-80. They want a spiritual refresh, exercise, and family. That's top notch. That's good stuff right there. All right, Wilbur, peace over productivity, 100%, 100%. And I would go out on a limb to say, progress over perfection. I know that's a cliche thing, but as you heard Doc say right there, she's been working on some things. But then people down in Orlando, when they start driving, listen, anything can happen, and I understand
Yes.
that. And the
Yep.
issue here is not anybody trying to be perfect. We're just trying to be better. We're just trying to get
Amen.
better. I'm reminded that that in the scripture there in John's gospel, the old guy, man, he laid there at the pool of Shalom for 38 years, and one day Jesus
Hmm.
walked by and he says, "Hey, would you like to be made well?" And he's like, "Well, I've been sitting here, but nobody throws me in the pool when the angel comes." And that's what a lot of us say all the time. Hey, when there's an opportunity to be made well, to be made healthy, to get things back in order, we look at it like a mule staring at a new gate, like we don't know what to do with it. So we trying to put just this little bit of a plan together to try to help. That's all.
That's all.
So oh, look here. Sarah Ann says
No,
you
thank
should
you.
try driving in New York City. I don't even want to think about it. I don't even want to think about it. I would go, all right, here's three things that every teacher needs. All right. They're very simple, and but we need these. We need to be able to restore,
Yes.
grow, and connect.
Yep.
So, Doc, let's take each one of those together or one at a time. What does
Sure.
restore mean?
So again, that's the whole adage of what fills your cup, right? What fills you up? What energizes you? What
Yep.
helps to refresh you? Some people, one of my things that I think restores me is I love to go to Universal. I can walk around Universal by myself and just enjoy my day. Now, I might do almost 20,000 steps, and most people would be like, that doesn't sound very restorative, but it is for me. It's what fills my tank. It just lets me relax. I get to watch different things. I get to people watch. I get to go on my favorite rides. But so, what restores you? Now, that's a big thing because that's not around the corner from me, unfortunately, not yet at least. But so that's a big thing that might happen maybe once a month. But we also need to look at what restores us daily. So
Daily.
that
Absolutely.
might be that hike, that walk, the
Good stuff.
exercise, right? Spending time in
Yep.
prayer, spending time
Yep.
listening to sermons, whatever. So we can have those bigger things like the massage or the trip or whatever, but we also need the daily things that restore us.
Gotta have some daily stuff. All right.
Yes.
So, what does it look like to grow? All right. One of the things that we talked about as teachers, we are always caught up in some sort of research and this and that and the other. And I have found that research reading is not as good as just casual reading. How does that help us?
Mhm. So anything that you want to grow in, whether it's reading, it's learning a new skill, taking a course, what do you how do you want to be different in August? In what area do you want to
Yep.
grow? And sometimes, and this is where I think sometimes work kind of bleeds in, because like for instance, I want new forms to use in my files because that helps my brain process things. So I might listen to a podcast or look at some different things and create something, but
Yep.
that helps me grow because it's moving me forward in what I'm going to be doing. And
That's
even though
right.
it bleeds into school, it's still something that's helping me process and grow to be a better counselor in August.
100%. So, the third thing is to connect. And we have it right here on our slide is that we got to rebuild relationships because
Mm.
we do become isolated. The school year is full of demands. It's heavy.
Mhm.
All right, it has a profound effect upon me. Okay, and maybe I'm just maybe I'm a wimp. I don't know. Um,
You've been through a
but
lot.
the school year, it really, really, really drags me. And I
Mm.
got to tell you, the last month. For those of you who don't know, we're in Florida, so we got spring break like the third week of April. I mean, who waits till the third week of April to let their people have? I mean, by the third week of April, you're near about ready to pull your hair out, you know? And you would think that when you come back after the third week of April, that the last month would go very quickly. Not so. That may be the longest month of the entire year, and I'm not sure how that happens, but that's the way it is.
Testing.
And as a result, we do oftentimes let relationships go. We do oftentimes kind of isolate ourselves and not spend time with our spouse or whatever. And so this is a time where our mind can be clear and we can reconnect with those people. Now, here's the thing. Check this out. You don't have to have a perfect summer, but you do have to have a purposeful summer. And the way that you can begin today is the power of small choices. I sit with kids all the time that make bad decisions that don't do right, and I tell them that if you want to make a change, it comes with one intentional decision at a
Mhm.
time, very small
Mhm.
ones. And over time, just like bad decisions add up, those small intentional decisions make a difference. Now, Doc, this is a discipline. Is this a discipline or a choice? Or is it both?
I think it could be looking at both, but again, I think the most important thing is understanding when we break it down into those smaller kind of pieces,
Hmm.
it doesn't make it as daunting. It makes it more practical. So that's why it's important to look at the small things and be consistent with it. So let's say you do want to get in shape. You don't have to start some crazy 45-minute hit workout tomorrow. What you can do instead is plan for a 15-minute walk or maybe YouTube video and work your way up. Look at just one thing that you can accomplish per day. It could be changing up your breakfast. Maybe it's a healthier meal. Maybe
Hmm.
it's going for that walk after dinner or whatever it might be. But it's taking those small intentional choices and allowing those to build over time, which gives that purpose and gets you towards your goal, moves you towards your
So,
goal.
so one of the things that we put in here is that it doesn't take an expensive vacation because
Mm-mm.
oftentimes that's what we think about,
Right.
resting and getting away and vacation. There's nothing wrong with that. I want to go ahead and applaud those efforts. But that in and of itself does not bring about transformation.
Mm-mm.
Transformation comes with consistent, small, daily decisions that produce true and lasting renewal. If there was ever a statement that needs to be memorized by all of us, that's probably one that we should memorize. So, one of the cool things here tonight, Doc, is right now in the chat, I just dropped our our presentation for everybody to have. That's completely free. All right. I have another thing that I'm going to drop there for everybody because our goal is to help. This is 100% free. You can go right to it. It's just goes to a Canva link. Um, and I'm going to share this if I can get it up with everybody else. Oh no, I did it wrong. So I don't know what I did right there, but I need to get out of that and then come over to here and try to get back on track. So I'm sorry about that. But here's what we also are giving to you tonight. Why is that not working?
Yeah, because,
Because it's technology. Let's try it this way. All right.
yes.
Let's get it right. Um, all right. We're going to share this right here and then we're going to put it in present mode. Now, how about that? How about let's see if
There
that
you
works.
go.
All right. This is an infographic that outlines everything that we just talked about. And we want you to have that, put it up on your refrigerator or I don't know, make your cat look at it or whatever it is that you want to do. So the presentation is there, the infographic is there, okay, and we want you guys to be able to use that for however you want to use it. So let's jump in here. All right, Sarah Ann wants to be a life coach. Um, can you suggest any courses? So I tell you a good place to look, believe it or not, is Udemy. Udemy sells a lot of online courses and they're extraordinarily affordable. There are obviously other places that are degreed programs. I don't know if that's what you want. My training is not as a life coach. My training is in pastoral counseling and things of that nature. So and I don't counsel at all. So don't misunderstand what I just said right there. Um, Doc, she's a little bit different. She's got two or three balls that she has to juggle over there to stay in line. But I would look into Udemy and just go over and search life coach Sarah Ann. Or I tell you what, if you're really interested, if you wanted to, I wouldn't mind working with you a little bit to help you get started. Okay. All right. So one home 8680 Joshua Knob acceptance and commitment therapy for Christians workbook. That's my spiritual reset book. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah, just
I've never, I haven't
copied
heard, I
it.
haven't heard of that book, but I'm gonna check it out. Thanks for sharing it. Okay, Wilbur. Yes, when I do go on vacation, I spend more time worried about protecting the family more than enjoying the trip. I understand that. I used to be in the same place as you are. Now it's just me and my bride. My kids are all grown up, and those are happy days. I tell you, they are. I can't say that I don't miss some of those other days, but those really are some happy days, and um, so maybe one day you'll get that direction. So check this out right here, just really quick, and then we're gonna get out of here. This is about as long as we've been in here. All right, you got to do this just one at a time. And here's some ideas. You can build a purposeful summer, but you don't have to build it all at once. You can build it just a little bit at a time, right, Doc? I mean, that's kind of what we're looking for.
Absolutely.
Small
Absolutely.
steps, small steps, right? Where would you start at, Doc? I would start
I
with an
would
easy one.
You would start with an easy one?
wouldn't
So
you?
my thing would be, but my biggest thing would be is let's stop overwhelming ourselves, right? Because we get overwhelmed
Yep.
in from school, but then
Yep.
I think we get used to being overwhelmed. So then we start to overwhelm ourselves, pile up our schedules, pile up appointments. So let's take a deep breath and then figure out one thing that you want to either grow in, prioritize, focus on, whatever that is. That comes back to that vision. And
Mm.
then these are the things that can get you there. The one thing
Yep.
a day that can get you there. So it could be
Yeah.
that phone call. Like let's say you say, I really need to take into account how I'm doing medically. Okay, well maybe it's the phone call to schedule the appointment. Maybe you need to see your eye doctor. Maybe whatever it might be. So that's that one phone call. Maybe it's one quiet hour. Are you meditating at all? Are you quiet at all? Usually the only time people are quiet is right before bed. And even then, some people say, I have to
Yep.
sleep with the TV on. So again, figure out your one thing per day. So
Hmm.
have your overall vision statement, have your one thing per day, and then that way you're living in a more purposeful summer instead of just existing.
I think I would, in the past, I would always come up with these complex things, right?
Exactly.
This crazy, it was a great plan, but there was no real way to achieve it. So, you can have a vision, an overall, right?
Right.
But can you create a plan and then create micro steps to get to that plan?
Absolutely. And then what we need to understand is not being solely married to the plan. Learn to be flexible, right? All just learn to, I can have a game plan. It's not necessarily a to do list, but like I said, so I have one of my other things is I'm calling them 2 mile mornings. Every morning, I want to walk at least 2 miles. I have a little
Yes.
treadmill thing.
Good.
Wake up, get started.
Perfect.
That refreshes and starts my day. So that's just kind of one thing that I know is going to get me on the right track because it's going to keep me off my phone and it's going to just get my juices flowing so that I can address the
Yep.
bigger things that I want to get done.
Yep.
So I just think it's not living a rigid life and it's not getting so into our heads of what we need to get done. It's taking that pressure off and just saying, this is what I'm looking to do, and here's how I can do it.
That's right. Man, that's
Hmm.
you really walk 2 miles first thing in the morning
Yes. 2 mile mornings. That's what it's called.
on
Yep.
a treadmill.
Yes. On a little baby treadmill.
So you're just
Or
looking at the
outside.
so you're just looking at the wall?
No, actually, it depends. But many mornings I'll do like worship music. So I'm walking and worshiping.
Mm,
Um, so I'll have that either on
good.
YouTube or just
Good deal.
listening to it.
All
Hmm.
right. So here's the reason why we wanted to share the presentation with everybody, because here's a
Yes.
little action step for you. All right. And anybody can do this. Again, the goal is yours or the vision is yours. You can figure that out. But the goal isn't to return to school rested for a week. The goal is to return renewed,
Yes.
focused, and ready for what's coming next. Because I can tell you, we haven't even gotten there. But with the way that education is going, next year is going to be the hardest year probably
Mm.
that we've all ever had. Right, and we need to be prepared for it. So, just a couple of quick things. Now, this is some stuff that you can do on your own. Uh, if, however, you want some help making a reset, I just created a brand new product. All right, I'm putting it in the chat right there, the link to it. All right, that comes with 6 coaching videos. It comes with a 32-page workbook that I created, and it also comes with 2 personal coaching calls, Google Meet calls or Zoom or whatever with me, 30 minutes apiece. All right, I'm like Doc; they usually turn into an hour. And I want you to grab that. It's the 5-day teacher reset. and it helps you. It just gives you a little different view and a structured approach to working through summer in order to go back rested, refreshed, restored into an unsustainable system, and yet you'll have the strength to at least be sustainable yourself. Doc, anybody out there got any questions?
I just think the one thing to really hopefully drive home today is we spend so much time, we spend 10 months helping others grow and teaching and coaching in our own right. That these, however many weeks that you have for summer, this is your time to grow.
That's right.
So prioritize your growth this summer in a meaningful way. Again, it doesn't need to be some huge cruise or Alaskan vacay or whatever. We're talking about small, meaningful
Right.
things each day to contribute to your spiritual, mental, physical, and relational health.
Yeah. That's exactly what we're aiming at right there. Hey, Adam over here has an idea. I don't know. Yeah, Lee. Get rid of the
They're
administrators and HR.
not all bad. I have a good
So
I have
so
good
Adam
ones.
makes a point here, okay? And okay, it was question and answer time. He threw it in here. So I'm going to back him up just a little bit. And here's the reason why is because in education, education does not want, or they want leaders, but they want certain kinds of leaders. What they want
Leaders.
in education are administrative leaders, people
Mhm.
that can make sure the paperwork is done, the check
Mhm.
boxes are checked off, the deadlines are met. All right.
Mhm.
And administrators are overloaded with garbage work, just like teachers, that they have to do. And as a result, they don't even think about necessarily the fact that as an administrator, you got to be a leader of people.
Mm.
And that's part of the system, right? I know that there's probably some administrators that can be thought of that say, oh, they were just bad and this, and it's probably true, right? But I feel like that for the most part, or at least the administrators I know, they're working really hard to just keep their head above water. What I would say, uh, Adam, is not fire the administrators or necessarily the HR people, but fire the politicians who are forcing our schools to take on all of these unfunded mandates that are forcing our districts to do things that are ridiculous and this, that, and the other. And Adam, I see your comment right there, and I 100% agree with you. Is that many of them do. 100%. I agree with every word that is on this screen. Is that oftentimes that is what happens, and I also know that oftentimes they are told
Yeah.
that that's what we're going to do. There's limits, and it's not right. It's not right. So I'm not in any way like trying to defend, but oftentimes administrators are forced. They want to retire, they want to eat, they want to raise their families, right? And then they get into it, and it's not like you can back out of it. You can't take a big salary and then go backwards,
Mm.
you know? And so they're in the same spot everybody else is. So I would just say, let's get rid of those people that are sitting in the state capitals that come up with these silly ideas that let companies like Pearson get in control, not
Mm.
just of the textbook, not just of the curriculum, but of the tests that students have to take. Let's cut them out for sure, and we'll get somewhere. Hey, man, you don't have to worry about it. You don't sound like a maniac. You sound like you actually sound like me. except except I'm getting better. Okay, I'm getting better. All right. If there's no
We
questions, man,
can't
we're gonna
beat
head
it.
out of here for tonight. Don't forget next Sunday, Teacher Kelly's gonna be in here with us, and we're gonna enjoy it. Okay. So y'all have a good night. Check out the 5 day reset if you want help and a structured approach because it is tough. Okay. And above all else, stay strong and keep teaching.